Course in Miracles lesson for the day is lesson 73. I will there be light. Today we are considering the will you share with God. And from this perspective now we're going to say God is our I am, the Father in our minds. This is not the same as the ego's idle wishes, out of which darkness and nothingness arise. The will you share with God has all the power of creation in it. Okay, so when we align our idea of ourselves with our thoughts about God, a high vibration conversation, then we create a world that reflects God. The ego's idle wishes are unshared and therefore have no power at all. Its wishes are not idle in the sense that they can make a world of illusions in which your belief can be very strong. So beliefs are just thoughts we continue to think. Because we do have creative power, what we believe will become true for us in the world. But it doesn't even begin to compare to the power of when we're feeling happy and thinking thoughts with the Holy Spirit and God, our inner being, our non-physical selves, because they are connected to everything. There is a fourth dimension where they can see and adjust everything around us. And we're part of a greater plan when we're tapping into all of that. But they are idle indeed in terms of creation. They make nothing that is real. So in this course, it's saying, you can make things down here on earth and prove your life to yourself that what you believe is true for you, but you're not creating in reality, which is God's world. And so that gets to be a little bit of a funky, fresh thing. I know listening to Abraham and Esther, Abraham will say, spirit never focuses on the negative, only on the positive. And so there's this element here that forgiveness and our function has to do with simply forgetting anything unloving that's ever happened to us or that we've said or someone else has said. And there's an element of that that's just an illusion in the sense that it just stays on this physical plane. And when we pass away, it had no eternal properties to it. So, but the love, the positivity, the caring things that we've done and people have done to us are permanent or eternal creations. And so obviously we want to create with that power the things that are eternal and that feed us eternally. I think it happens regardless. It's just, are we aware of it? So when we pass or croak or die, whatever you want to say, we'll get all the benefit of all the positive things we've created. But the question is, do we want those things on this earthly plane? And if so, we get to get into the vibrational vicinity by letting go of grievances, forgiving, and moving up on the mood scale. Idle wishes and grievances are partners or co-makers in picturing the world you see. So there it is, idle wishes and grievances. Resentment. And then idle wishes are just things we believe to be true that are just our own opinions, I would say. The wishes of the ego gave rise to it, and the ego's need for grievances, which are necessary to maintain it, peoples it with figures that seem to attack you and call for righteous judgment. So when we believe we need to be punished or deserve to be punished, someone will show up to do that to us. When we believe we're a victim, someone will show up to victimize us. So since we're always projecting out and it's always going to be proven true what we believe to be true, we want to be really careful about what we're believing to be true for ourselves. These figures become the middlemen the ego employs to traffic in grievances. They stand between your awareness and your brother's reality. Beholding them, you do not know your brothers or yourself. We make everybody wrong. We think we're always under attack. You're victimized. People are picking on you. Your will is lost to you in this strange bartering in which guilt is traded back and forth and grievances increase with each exchange. Can such a world have been created by the will the Son of God shares with his Father? Did God create disaster for his Son? Creation is the will of both together. Would God create a world that kills himself? Creation is the will of both together. So when we really create, it's us aligning our perception or concept of ourselves with our I am and the truth of who we are. Like I pat my head, but it's really your creative mechanism, your I am, and aligning that you are the perfect, beautiful creation that God intended you to be. Today we will try once more to reach the world that is in accordance with your will. The light is in it because it does not oppose the will of God. It is not heaven, but the light of heaven shines on it. Darkness has vanished. The ego's idle wishes have been withdrawn. Yet the light that shines upon this world reflects your will, and so it must be in you that we will look for it. So we have to find it in ourselves. Otherwise, we're not going to see it outside of ourselves, even if it's there, because of our ability to translate vibration. I mean, all my senses are translating vibration, so it's my come from that translate everything into my experience. Your picture of the world can only mirror what is within. It's a reflective world. The source of neither light nor darkness can be found without. Grievances darken your mind, and you look out on a darkened world. Forgiveness lives the darkness, reasserts your will, and lets you look upon a world of light. We have repeatedly emphasized that the barrier of grievances is easily passed and cannot stand between you and your salvation. The reason is very simple. Do you really want to be in hell? Do you really want to weep and suffer and die? Forget the ego's arguments which seek to prove all this is really heaven. You know it is not so. You cannot want this for yourself. There is a point beyond which illusions cannot go. Suffering is not happiness, and it is happiness you really want. Ain't that the truth? I certainly do. Such is your will and truth, and so salvation is your will as well. You want to succeed in what we are trying to do today. We undertake it with your blessing and your glad accord. We will succeed today if you remember that you want salvation for yourself. You want to accept God's plan because you share in it. You have no will that can really oppose it, and you do not want to do so. Salvation is for you. Above all else, you want the freedom to remember who you really are. Today, it is the ego that stands powerless before your will. Your will is free, and nothing can prevail against it. Therefore, we undertake the exercises for today in happy confidence, certain that we will find what it is your will to find, and remember that it is your will to remember. No idle wishes can detain us, nor deceive us with an illusion of strength. Today, let your will be done, and end forever the insane belief that it is hell in place of heaven you would choose. We will begin our longer practice periods with the recognition that God's plan for salvation, and only His, is wholly in accord with your will. Just a friendly reminder, salvation is perfect health, freedom, and happiness. It is not the purpose of an alien power. And I'll say I got that from, actually, Emmett Fox. It was in this little book. When he defines God's terms, he defines salvation as perfect health, harmony, and freedom. I'm like, that's perfect and exactly what I was looking for to define it. It is not the purpose of an alien power thrust upon you unwillingly. It is the one purpose here on which you and your Father are in perfect accord. Again, my Father is my I am, my knowingness, just that I'm conscious. And when we begin to think about our consciousness and our I am, like when I say I am, I mean I exist. You are, I am. No matter what, even if we completely forgot our human identities and we didn't know who we were, if we were sitting there, we would know that we exist. That is consciousness. And that is our Father. It is one purpose here on which you and your Father are in perfect accord. You will succeed today, the time appointed for the release of the Son of God from hell and from all idle wishes. His will is now restored to his awareness. He is willing this very day to look upon the light in him and be saved. After reminding yourself of this and determining to keep your will clearly in your mind, tell yourself with gentle firmness and quiet certainty, I will there be light. Let me behold the light that reflects God's will and mine. Then let your will assert itself, joined with the power of God and united with yourself. Put the rest of the practice period under their guidance. Join with them as they lead the way. In shorter practice periods, again, make a declaration of what you really want. Say, I will there be light. Darkness is not my will. This should be repeated several times an hour. It is most important, however, to apply ideas in this form immediately when you are tempted to hold a grievance of any kind. This will help you let your grievances go instead of cherishing them and hiding them in darkness. Okay, so longer practice period, I will there be light. Let me behold the light that reflects God's will and mine. And then whenever, a couple times an hour, and then whenever we want to hold a grievance, I will be light. I will there be light. Darkness is not my will. And I love throwing in here the term willpower. A lot of times we don't realize that our will has great power. And the true application of our willpower is in our mind and with what we're focusing on and thinking. And we're so overstimulated right now, focus can be a really difficult thing. And that's why I think the meditation is so key, and practicing this and having reminders on your phone to kick up your reminders throughout the day, because we're really practicing our focusing mechanism here. And since our mind is what creates and has all the power, it's key to train your mind on focusing. So however you do that is awesome, but today, let's will there be light.